there's a different kind of job anxiety these days that I am going through compared to previous times I've done this. Um, in the past, when I've been in between jobs, it's pretty much the same process. Yeah, apply for jobs here and there, hope you will get called back. Typical interview process, typical anxiety of post-interview process, the typical, oh, I wish I said this, I should have said this, I totally forgot about bringing up this one thing. Then all the waiting about hoping to hear back from them, hoping you land a job, gets you to your next step. This time around is different. With the advent of technology and AI and all whatnot, it's kind of affecting all steps of the process, and it affects both myself as the applicant and the people who are hiring. As I mentioned, like, this is not the first time I've done this, so yes, I've explained the typical ways of doing this before. And in broad strokes, what I've done in the past is, like, yes, sure. In between jobs, I usually take it as an opportunity to just really decompress, like, gather myself up together, really use the time away to gather my thoughts and figure out what I feel are my next steps. You really don't want to jump right into the next thing. I mean, super fortunate if you can do that. But knowing I didn't really have that luxury in my case, I accepted it. And like I said, I just took it as an opportunity to take the time and take a break and whatnot. You might have noticed from the first few videos in my channel, I was hiking around, I visited my hometown. That was super nice. Got to visit my family, got to see some friends. Now I'm back at home and trying to figure out my next steps. Those next steps actually started while I was still visiting with my family, because I was trying to see, not really fully forming my methods and how to go about this just yet, but I just wanted to see what was available. And it wasn't as much about, because I have my typical career path by now. I'm a career designer. Somewhere down the line, I became a strategist and a planner as well. But my career has been primarily within the design realm of things, from designing content, digital designs, website designs, all that kind of stuff. And I really wanted to get back to that, because it's the domain that I've mastered in my 10, 15, 20 years doing this. So the job process essentially started there. One thing to note is I didn't really want to do this conventionally anymore. I didn't really want to go for a full-time gig. Before my most recent full-time job, the one that I left just a couple months back, I was doing quite well doing freelance jobs. I was hip to all the different portals out there, from like Fiverr and Upwork. I was able to find pretty decent options for myself, and like enough to sustain myself for a good amount of time. But of course, like, nothing meets the security of a full-time job. So when the offer came for my most recent job, I decided to take it, because at least, because when you're doing freelance, you will realize, like, it's a constant hustle to try and bag more clients. Obviously, like, there are lots of ways. I mean, I was fortunate enough to have a lot of, like, very consistent, continuous clients that I would work with all the time. In some cases, I still have contact with a lot of these, and I'm still doing certain jobs with them now. So that's actually quite great. But yeah, to have the full-time gig still kind of became number one for a number of for a number of reasons. Yes, it's consistent money, like all the different frameworks behind it, from like insurance and whatnot. Otherwise, you'd have to figure that out for yourself. So now I'm going back to trying to bet on myself and do the freelance thing. So I hit up all my usual haunts. Again, the Fivers, the Upworks, updated all my stuff. I saw there's a number of different ways to go about presenting yourself. It's not just about like saying this is what I do. There's a lot more methods in terms of how to put yourself out there and how to put yourself out there more specifically. Like for example, for Fiverr, they have these things called gigs, where you're literally offering a very specific niche area of expertise that you can offer. And that was a good learning experience in terms of trying to understand your niche, and doing the time to take the research and figuring out what's a good niche to look into from there, and try and apply that to what you're presenting. So to get back to the original topic, it's like when you're doing that, it's like you're not really getting into the typical process of your typical job hunt process of applying, hearing back, all that kind of stuff. Because when you're betting on yourself, it's gonna feel amazingly one-sided, and that can wreck you in one way or another, because you don't know when if what you're doing is right, if you don't know if you're really selling yourself well enough. It's hard to constantly update and audit what it is exactly that you're doing and see if there's any ways how you can improve that. So you're kind of stuck in a loop there. One other example of this is, like I said, I'm a career designer, but I've been looking into other lanes of opportunity that I can potentially get into. The two that particularly stood out was apparently AI training is a big thing now, so I've been looking into that a lot. There's a number of different websites and portals out there where you can apply and go through that whole process. So I've essentially just started doing that, and I think that's the primary inspiration for this video right here. Because again, technology is affecting both sides of the coin here, where if you're going for these AI jobs, 99% of the time, it's a completely automated process. You will sign up for an account on these many sites. You will see what kind of openings are available. You sign up for them. They'll give you this automated assessment. A lot of times it's usually just to gauge how well your language skills are. And a lot of times these AI trainers are looking for specifics in a specific field, like whether it's specific in a particular language or specific in a particular expertise. So there could be AI training for like broader marketing, or AI training on making sure that the English verbiage of this AI response is correct. Those kinds of things. So I looked into this lane because it seemed really simple enough, and a lot of the videos I saw on YouTube talking about it suggested that it's such a viable option to look into, not to the point of saying that it's easy money, but a person of myself and my career seemed I would be primed to get into this kind of line of work. Because it was selling on the freedoms of being able to work on your own time, your own pace. I mean, sure, these projects usually have their own deadlines and whatnot, but these projects are something you can do and you'd have the rest of the day off. That was the rough essence of how this was sold to me. So I would try it. And again, the process was like sign up for these sites, see what jobs are out there, go through this completely automated process of application, the assessments and whatnot. even to the point where I was actually dealing with this one site, I forget which one, but they had a fully automated AI interviewer, which was both interesting and kind of freaky at the same time because it was really, the AI interviewer was really intuitive in terms of trying to, it would like pick up from a lot of the things that I was verbally responding with, and it can figure out ways of how to keep the discussion along with keeping in mind what I verbally responded. So in a way, it was kind of nice. In the bigger picture, that's kind of the thing that I'm wrestling with here right now. Where, as an introvert, this is all amazing because the less I have to deal with people. I mean, I will if I have to, but to do it completely automated like that was both great. But again, the more you do this, the more you feel a bit hollow and empty at the entire experience. Because again, you're not talking to a person, so there's kind of no way to gauge in terms of because like when you have a typical human interview, you can kind of gauge like, oh, they enjoyed the time they took speaking to you. But in this case, now I'm just talking to machines. So I hope I put myself across just fine, and hope that it all works out. I am still pretty early on in this entire process here. A lot of the sites for AI training that I've signed up for usually give me the response of, oh, we have to further assess your application. It usually takes 30 days or about 4 weeks. I've really only just started applying for a lot of these in bulk, say just about a week ago. So there's a lot of time to sit around and like twiddle my thumbs and try and figure out if what I'm doing is right, what I'm doing is correct. It's because there's a lot of waiting involved, so you get a bit anxious in terms of because you're not getting any crumb of a response, and you're just stuck in this waiting loop. So you don't really know what you can go about into improving from here. Because I mean, I'm sure there's like tons of videos on YouTube right now where you can that would advise you on how to come across better on human interviews and whatnot. But I've seen no content on how to do better on like automated processes like these, which brings me to what I'm stuck on again, this whole anxiety thing. But this is going to sound a bit like it's not exactly an entire solution to my problem, but the reality of it is that there are tons of these types of jobs popping up everywhere, popping up online. So not to say that I'm doing this blindly, because again, I'm trying to be really considerate in terms of how I'm going about this, and like trying to pick the best positions out there, the best training bits that I feel are most relevant to my expertise, and I feel I could do a good deal of difference in. You just keep going, because again, there's tons of these things popping up. So as an odd distraction to the anxiety, you just gotta keep looking. You just gotta keep applying. Again, I'm still pretty early on in this process, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep finding openings that's gonna last the 30-day window of assessment and then I hear back. Because there have been cases where, say, like almost immediately they'll say that my application is denied. That's kind of one thing to look into, that certain people might experience about this whole process, where a lot of the YouTube videos that I saw online about this type of trend and line of work is, yes, plenty of opportunities, plenty of things to go into. But for some reason, a lot of times these are like US specific positions, and they will have openings designated for people of the region that I'm in, which is Southeast Asia, but they're kind of few and far between. You will still see a good chunk of worldwide based openings, and you just try and apply for as many as you can. But that's essentially what I'm going through. I just wanted to share my experience because I've yet to see someone else talking about going through this modern type of job hunt. It's raining really hard right now, so like I said, I'm just gonna keep trying. Might come back with another video to update you guys on how this is all going. But I'd love to hear if this comes out to someone and connects with them, and someone that's going through the same thing that I am. I would love to hear from you. We can definitely talk about this, because I mean, I know there's a lot of people applying out there, but to specifically reference this kind of weird tech-based anxiety is completely new, kind of alien, but you're finding ways around it. I'm finding ways around it, but I would love to hear what you think about it too. Well, I'm gonna get back to this weird job search, modern job search now. Talk to you in the next video.